Okie doke. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Public Practice Accountants Club on Clubhouse, where public practitioner, thought leaders, industry specialists, and accountants just like you discuss the hot topics in public practice and how they go about navigating the public practice landscape all around the world. So, fundamentally, public practice has the same principles, dynamics, challenges no matter where we are in the world, and it's a fast run up to Christmas again. No matter where we are in the world, we might have different tax seasons, busy periods and legislation, but at the core we are very much the same. So this morning we're talking about how to grow your fees without growing your client base. Pretty interesting topic, which is very cool. I think I do know everyone in the room, so I'll just do a very quick introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Linda Steffens. I am an accountant and author and an introvert, and I've been hanging around public practice now for just on 30 years, and the last probably 5 years, 10 years, I suppose, I've been coaching and educating accountants to make their businesses, just fly for them and exactly what they want to have happen. And of course, I've got my amazing co-host, Kyelie Baxter, with me. Kyelie, good morning.
Good morning, Linda. I'll do a quick intro because I can't see everyone in the room right now. So yes, I'm Kyelie. I have a public practice firm here at the Gold Coast. I've been doing accounting for, I don't know, coming up to maybe 25 years. I lose track because time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
There's nearly 10 of us now. We are a little bit short-staffed. And I guess leading up into Christmas, it's that awkward time of the year where it's like, do you put new people on? Do you not? Who knows what the go is? And the topic today is super interesting because we've probably done a really super good job of this to the point where I'm like, oh, it needs to stop. What are we going to do? So looking forward to having a chat about this one today.
Well, I'm sure everyone's looking forward to hearing all about your experience too. And I'd love also for those that are in the room, please, we'd love your help with this because we'd love your questions. What have you tried? What's worked? What's not? Really help us out with this discussion because you'll get the most of it that way if you can. Now, just before we kick it off, let you know that in Clubhouse, it's a fabulous networking tool for you. So you can click around on everyone's profile, see who's in the room. You might want to connect with them or you might want to follow them on Clubhouse. Please do that. It's a great tool for doing that. Also, too, just navigating around the platform. If you're on Clubhouse and you want to raise your hand and have a chat with us, all you got to do is hit the little icon down the bottom, the little hand icon, and we can invite you up onto the stage to say hello. We are an official CPA discussion group, so you can claim your CPD points for the time that you're listening into us. And a new thing that's come about in Clubhouse just recently is replays. So as you know, Kyelie and I are here every Wednesday morning. We're going to have a break coming up to Christmas, but we are here most Wednesday mornings. And what we've been able to do now in Clubhouse is replay what we've done in the past. So if you go over to the Public Practice Accountants Club, you can actually see the last 2 weeks there that has allowed us, if you wanted to refresh, go back, revisit the topics, because there's some great stuff that we talk about, right, Kyelie?
Well, we think so, but we're totally biased. But check it out. Anyway, it is good stuff.
It is good stuff. It is good stuff. All right. So how to grow your fees without growing your client base. So you might be thinking, I want to increase my fees, but worried, am I at the top of my game as far as compliance goes? Clients are already, a little bit price sensitive. Are they going to pay more? And do I need to go out and find new clients? Is that the solution? Can I handle new clients? What does this look like? So we're going to deep dive into adding additional services. Is that the solution for you? Adding advisory income streams, which Kyelie has certainly mentioned just before. She's done a lot of. How to stop giving away free advice. Now, that's the good one. You probably find that you're already doing a lot of the work, but you're giving it away for free. We find that happening a lot in the accounting industry. And of course, some strategies to increase your fees and maximize your firm's income and profitability. Okie doke. how to increase your fee base without growing clients. Kylie, where do we start?
Practically, or just today, it's one of those really interesting things, isn't it?
Yes.
I think when you start thinking about, and I'm going to use a term here that's a bit of an ugly term, but I call it mining your own database, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you start looking at, how do you get more fees from your own client base, you need to actually look at your client list and go, well, who could we actually help more?
Yes.
And what services could we offer them? And I'd really like this conversation today not to just turn into advisory services,
no,
particularly, because we all have heard the discussion about advisory services, and I would hope by now we all know what they are, and I would hope by now we're all offering them in some sort of way, right?
Yes, yes.
but we're probably not.
there's always the but.
Keep that to the side of the discussion.
Yeah, that's all right.
That's your area of expertise.
That is my area.
But I think really, from a practical steps point of view, it comes down to looking at your client list and going, what part of the conversation have I been hearing, but have I not been listening to? So when I've been meeting with those clients at my year-end tax discussions, or they've been ringing me, what are their pain points? And for us, when we started doing this, it was a lot around some bookkeeping stuff. So all of our clients had internal bookkeepers, or they were doing the bookkeeping themselves. And we even at that stage, I think, had a little bookkeeping team, but it was around the more complex side of things, like at the year end, it was year-end stuff like power reports and, the single touch payroll, year-end finalizations and all of those sorts of things, where they were like, we only do this once a year. No one knows what they're doing. We're getting it wrong. No, we don't know what to do. So it started off by offering all of those ad hoc services. And it was a really simple thing where we went, if we offer this at scale, I wonder what the take-up's going to be. So it was on us to figure out how do we offer it at scale and systemize the process so that we can make it really easy for us to do, and someone can do it in a really sort of super simple way and over and over again, so that it's a bit of a no-brainer for us and it doesn't drive someone crazy.
Exactly. And you don't end up looking like a goose because you can't deliver it. That's the other thing, you know?
Exactly. So when I say super simple way from our point of view, we did it via a form. So we basically went, who does this affect? Right, it affects these 65 people. We sent a document out to those 65 people, or I think we just went to them by email, but there was a link in that email. Say, hey, if you're interested in help, click this affects you. Here's how it is. Click this link. And it was like, do you know this affects you? Yes or no?
Yes.
Next.
Yes.
Are you capable? Do you want help? Yes, no, maybe.
Or do you want to talk about it? Yeah.
Book a meeting, or tell us you want us to do it, or blah, blah, blah. And then the cost. And if it was a cost thing, then it actually took them to the engagement letter and fee proposal. Perfect. So in one thing, I think the immediate take up was over 50%. And the meeting, and we discounted the meeting because the meeting was like an e-meeting where it was basically just us explaining what was in the email, which, some people just need that extra little help.
They do. They don't always read the emails, right? I would say 9 times out of 10 they don't read the email.
Exactly. Like, you just need to hold people's hand.
Yes,
but our take-up ended up being something like 70-something%.
Wow. So I think
non-responses was less than 10%. And we find that on most of that stuff. So our initial data mining was just picking up those things that everybody needed to do. So we did it on things like TFN report.
Yep.
So after tax planning, hey, we're distributing to a new beneficiary.
Yes.
Stuff that no one picks up.
Yes.
TPAs, single touch payroll finalizations, all work cover, all of that stuff where it's like, geez, no one really has time to do this, but we'll just make sure, and the clients aren't going to do it, but we'll just close our eyes and hope someone's going to do it. So it was all of that sort of stuff. That's where we started.
Perfect, because there's so much that you just said in there. I've just been scribbling down notes to pull out all of those bits that, you know, you've just said in that one conversation. So the first thing is, you call it data mining. It's looking at existing clients. We don't need, just because we want to increase our fee base does not mean we have to go out and find new clients. It does not mean that our clients won't pay for more services. It's just we need to offer them and talk to them about it and show them what it is. So that's the first thing. Existing clients is where you should always look. You have a trusted relationship with them. They know you. They're likely to at least engage in a conversation with you about extra services. So that's the first thing.
And then can we just like all really acknowledge that onboarding takes so much time?
Yes.
Like it really does. And, you know, really being nice to new clients and giving them this amazing experience and blah, blah, blah. You can't charge for that. Like I'd really be interested, show of hands, who charges for a new client to come on board? No one. So it's really, really good to deal with your existing clients in this space, because they already know you, they already trust you. So it's so much easier just to do work for the existing clients.
Absolutely. And I think we have our blinkers on with that a lot of the time. We just think, I'm hearing grumbles about pricing and about paying bills and whatever from my existing client base. So no, they're not going to pay for anything more. That simply isn't true. We just need to have some conversations with them. So existing clients is where you start. So review the client list, have a look. What could it, you know, what extra things could you be offering? Then when you go back to those extra things, keep it simple. It's not the high level advisory doing extra work all of the time where you need to look first. The first thing is around, are our books, you know, up to date? Do they need some help with bookkeeping? It might be bookkeeping. Can we just do a quarterly data file review or something like that? Like Kyelie said, you did the year end side of things with bookkeeping, tidying up this year end before it comes in for tax work or before it's even there ready for tax work. Because what happens, these are the classic things that we're giving away for free, because they need to be done in order for us to do our work and to do our year end and to do all that other compliance stuff. And what we do is, because we haven't had a conversation with the clients about it, that these things need to be done, we just wrap them all into what we're doing, and then we charge what we charged last year to the client, because we just needed to get it done. That is correct. You do just need to get it done. But thinking about, how can I forward plan with this? How can I organize this? And you've just explained the process, Kyelie, then is about, these are all the extra things that we might need to do with you. Would you like them done, you know, nice and early? We'll get them organized for you. Here's how it works. So you don't need to look at any new services particularly. It's stuff you're already doing and you're probably giving away for free. Would you say that's a fair point, Kyelie?
Definitely. And actually with that bookkeeping quarterly review, one of the biggest things that we now pick up is when a client rings and they say, and this is every man and his dog right now because of this, you know, immediate write-off of any asset that you buy, basically, is, hey, I'm buying a new car and I'm just looking at the kind of finance. What, you know, can we have a discussion with the accountant about that quickly? And it's like, you know, it's just a quick question, because all clients only have quick questions, as we all know. So one of the things that we pick up there is, yep, sure, let's talk about what the go is there. So we do that. We will also, at that stage, say, when you get that car and when it's delivered, please make sure you flick through the finance documents and the tax invoice. And straight if away. You can't do it, please let one of our bookkeepers do that data entry for you, so that it doesn't end up costing you more at tax time, because it's much better for one of our bookkeepers to do that for you and charge you the bookkeeping rate than one of our accountants have to fix up the mess.
Absolutely.
Great.
So do you then bundle that into, here's the advice, plus we'll do, you flick us the documents, we'll do the bookkeeping for you right then and there, all done and dusted, here's the price for that. Is that what you do?
No. So because we give them the, give us your finance advice now.
Yes.
We make them book an appointment for the finance advice.
Okay.
So basically they'll ring and they'll want the advice right on the spot because it's such a quick question, and we'll say, no, book a call.
Yes.
And we charge for these booker calls.
Yes.
And then we'll say, hey, when you get the car, and as we know, that will be in June next year because that's how long cars take to come.
Mm-hmm.
They then need to either book a time with the bookkeeper. They can do that by screen share, and we will Loom that call. So for those who don't know or haven't heard me talk about Loom before, that's when we take a little screen share of the meeting with the bookkeeper so that then they know how to do it for next time, and they will pay for that call and then keep that video recording so they can data enter that next time.
Oh, nice. So you're educating as well.
Pay next time. We're pro-education.
Yeah.
Or they'll just say, hey, bookkeeper, can you do it? And we'll send them a fee to do it.
Yes.
Either other.
Yes. Okay. And I probably find we feed
them twice.
Yes. Yes. And you probably find that most just say, no, you do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So another couple of things that I want to pull out of that, what you're hearing and what Kyelie is also saying is that she's got a system, she's got a process, she's communicating to the clients, and she's being resolute about following the system and the process. So they are the four key things then around, automating or streamlining, adding these extra services into, feeable portions for clients. So communication, definitely know what the system is, have your team skilled up in the process so that can be rolled out at any time, and make sure you stick to it. Kyelie, you're saying that, no, we can't talk about this over the phone because of advice. We need you to make an appointment. That changes the thing, right? That changes the client's feeling about, okay, this is
we can't talk about it over the phone.
Yes.
I'm not saying we can't talk about it over the phone. What happens is they get triaged.
Yeah.
So
okay.
The people that answer the phone say, hi, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yep, great to hear from you, so-and-so. Can I ask what your call's regarding? And they'll say, oh, yeah, I'm just buying a new car and I need some advice about finance. It's just a quick question. And I'll say, oh, right. No, look, they're just a bit busy at the moment and that's not a quick question. I'll need to book a time. And it doesn't mean they won't get to speak to me today.
Yes. Yes.
Or they won't get to speak to an accountant today. It just means they need to book a time for that.
Yes. Perfect. Okay.
So what it does is it makes the client go, I'm getting advice. It's not ad hoc.
Correct.
Now, it doesn't mean that the clients don't always get put through to me as well. They do get put through to me, sometimes ad hoc. If they do just want to go, oh, I just got this letter from you, or I just got this email from you, or whatever, they do get put through to me. But it makes the client aware when they're actually asking me for something that
is advice related. Yes. Is advice. Yes, like absolutely.
If I'm going to charge the client, then they have to wait for me to call them back. Whereas if I've already charged the client or it's an ongoing matter, they can get put through to me straight away. But that's generally the way we teach our staff to, whether they get put through to me or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. So again, we're hearing there's internal training going on, making sure everybody understands what should come through, what shouldn't come through, what needs a time, what doesn't need a time, right? And sometimes if your team can't make the call, well, then you make the call, right? And you just say, no, we need to book a time to talk about that because it's a little bit more 100%. In depth. Yeah. A little bit more in depth than what we can do on the phone. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it changes, you're right, it changes the nature of how the client feels about just, a one-off phone conversation. It becomes a meeting then and they're getting advice. So that's the important aspect of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
That's exactly right.
All right. So for everybody that's listening in, then, increasing your fee base can be as simple as looking at your existing clients or looking at things you're already doing and just bundling up. in having to do your year-end work, and pulling them out and just discussing them with the clients in a different way, letting clients know these are all the extra things you have to do. Every year there's probably extra things, that now we've got to do something else and something else and something else. And it all needs to be discussed with the client, because otherwise it's that old adage of just death by 1,000 cuts. Your fees can't go up, but yet you're doing more work all the time. So it's taking a critical look over what's happening. And I think in order to get a hold of this, I mean, Kyelie, you're very hands-on with regard to clients and your work, pardon me, and everything there. But do you also seek advice from your accountants and your team about the extra work, or looking at, what's recorded on WIP or timesheet, or how do you determine where these extra things are popping up?
Oh, just ask me that question again, Linda. I'm not sure where you're going with it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, how did you determine that, we should talk to clients about doing STP as a separate thing, let's say? Did you hear from the accountants?
I realised that things weren't getting done, and we were getting more and more to do at the end of the year compliance work that we were having to do extra fee proposals for, or we were having to fix things that clients thought they had done correctly. And I thought there is a really awesome opportunity for us here to get these done on time, accurately, and use it as an educational piece for clients. Like, I would love clients to learn how to do these themselves. And one of the options we do is, hey, we'll teach you how to do it. Join a session with us and we'll teach you.
Clients love that.
They'd love. Clients go, I want to do that.
Yes. I would say most times clients will say, no, you just do it. But the thing is that you've offered. The thing is that you've offered to educate them. You've put the control back into their court. They can say yes or no to you. One of the biggest issues we have in the accounting industry is simply around that, we do all this work and then we demand our fee. The client has had no control over what they necessarily pay for or don't pay for. And even if you're discussing these things up front, 9 times out of 10, they're just going to say, no, you do it. I'm comfortable with that. But it's the offer of the education or the training that makes a difference. So that's another area, I think, where we could certainly go with increasing your client fee base. And that's around, because you mentioned the quarterly bookkeeping reviews or things like that. How about bookkeeping training, or training around how to tidy up your accounts for year end? Like you were just saying there before, Kyelie, it's...
So, that's super important too. And another way we get heaps of clients.
Okay.
So generally what happens is we get people contacting us saying, can you help me with my BAS? So we do a lot of training or a lot of education piece around, hey, you're coming up to BAS time. Here's the things that you should be doing before you do your own BAS.
Yes.
Number 1, reconcile your bank account. And people are like, oh, doesn't my file do that? No, your file does not do that.
The software's amazing, but it's not that good.
File does that.
Even regardless of what the salesman told you.
I'm not joking. I reckon, without a joke, every single new client we've taken on that quarter rings in an absolute panic going, I've just gone to reconcile my file and it does not reconcile. I don't think it's ever been reconciled.
Oh, I love it.
Like, look, this isn't unusual.
No, you're not on your own. Yes.
So I had one in yesterday, and the poor woman, and we bring them into the boardroom and we put it up on our massive, smart screen thing. The poor woman, and it's actually really sad. She was sobbing, and people, this is not why we do it, right? Like, this is not how we data mine our client base. But this is our education piece.
Yes.
And it's like, look, I will show you how to do this and where it's gone wrong and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's super easy and it's just like, oh, look, it's okay. You just haven't selected one bank account. You've just gone all. See here where it says all. You just need to use the drop down. It's okay.
Yes.
But sometimes it's like, this goes back 4 years and it looks like this file's pulled in duplicate feeds and blah, blah, blah. So it depends, right? Sometimes you end up with a stack load of work and there's no way the client could do it. And sometimes you just go, oh, it's this, this, and this. And the client goes, okay, I can do that. Thanks. See ya.
Yes, exactly.
But every single time I will send that reminder out to clients before you do your BAS. These are the things you need to do. Reconcile your data,
Yes.
check, and it's stupid things, right? Like the things that annoy us all. Check that when you paid your super last time, it went to super liability and not super expense.
Yes.
Da 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 da. And I never have one client say, "Can you stop sending me that message? That's annoying." And I've been a client for 7 years. Never.
That's because you're empowering them though, Kylie. You know, that's the thing. They realize, and what you're doing is you're saying, hey, these are the things that we'd have to do on your behalf. You should be aware of them. So you're making them aware, you're empowering them. And, you know, then you're still putting the control back into their court, because they can go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. That's right. I got the reminder. Oh, I can't do it this month. Kylie, can you just look after it? Next thing, there's the fee for what you would have done anyway when you got the BAS in and couldn't do it. You had to do all that prep work. So really, really important. So you're just communicating around that. So education, we thinking about existing clients. My clients won't pay for anything more. Clients will pay for education. Clients will pay for education in the hope that maybe they might save something down the track with regard to their accounting fees. Now, we know that probably won't be the case, but they need to go on that learning journey for themselves to realize what it is that you actually do. But they will pay for education. Would you say that's fair, Kyelie?
Well, that's been my experience, yes. So I want to talk about picking your timing though now.
Yes.
Hopefully everyone in the room, I don't know that everyone's from Australia, but anyway, directors' identification numbers, DINs, as we're calling them now. Apparently.
Oh, of course they've got an acronym. I love it.
Yeah, which only reminds me of the noise that a microwave makes when it finishes. So I'm clearly pro-education, and I have been purposely and intentionally not educating my clients about DINs because we're so close to Christmas. I know that if I go out and tell my clients about DINs,
they'll want it all done. Yeah, right.
Well, actually, no.
Oh.
I think it's fatigue.
Okay.
So at the moment, I've been on my clients to give me their tax work before Christmas because that's how my workflow schedule works. So I go hammer and tong, get your stuff in before Christmas, get it in before Christmas, get it in before Christmas.
Yes.
Because that's how I like to come back. I like to come back from Christmas and be snowed under. So
yes, on top of work. So you can get
wants to talk to me. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. January is generally that lull, right? Where you can't get anyone to talk to you. So get it in.
No.
Have a look at the job, get all your queries or your initial queries in, then you're good to go January and February. Yeah, perfect. Love it.
Exactly. So that's how we roll.
Yeah.
But the problem that I have got is that realistically, if I then go and tell them about these DINs, nothing is going to happen, and then I'm going to have to re-educate them and do it all again in February.
See.
No one wants to talk to me in January.
Yes.
So I have intentionally done nothing about the DINs, which sounds really funny, but I personally think that DINs is another way that we can educate these clients. Now, we cannot do that for clients, but we can hand it all to them on a silver platter.
Yes.
We can get them in for a meeting and hold their hands. We can do webinars and talk them through it.
Yes.
There are so many opportunities for us to make this easier on our clients. And I think there's going to be a lot of accountants out there that go, oh, they've got to do it through MyGov. We can't help them. Sorry.
And a lot that will just push it away because we're looking at that extra compliance load, or have I got somebody that can do this? I've not resourced it properly. I've not thought about it. So it's just like, I can't do it. Let the client do it. And clients don't feel supported by that, right? It just, just makes them even more grumbly about things, I would say.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So great opportunities around education, and they're coming all the time. There's that recent example that Kylie's just given there. I think for most of us, it's being able to pop our heads up from doing the work and actually really critically look at what we're doing. I don't think we're giving ourselves enough time to think about that. We can get so buried in our compliance and a lot of work to do around there. And I know we've got a lot of work to do, but if you truly are wanting to look at your business, increasing fees, becoming more efficient, what does that look like? Then you need to start somewhere. And these small things that you're already doing, you're already packaging up, they're likely to be given away for free, is the place to start. Just keep it simple. You don't have to think about creating new services, building new products, all of those things. They can come later. And they certainly are part of building your fee base, but they don't have to. I think you've got to start simply, Kylie. And I love that that's exactly where you've gone to start us off. So fabulous. Okay, what else do we need to talk about?
There's so much.
There is so much.
I think maybe we should talk about what happens when you're trying to do this stuff and not getting anywhere.
Yeah, okay. So resourcing it up.
Yeah. What happens when you feel like, look, we're doing all these things and we're offering our clients these services, but they're just not taking us up on them?
Yes, okay. Gotcha.
Because I think that happens too.
Yes.
And when that does happen, I think there's two places that you need to look.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is, is it because we're not offering the right clients the right services?
Yes.
Or is it because we're not actually servicing our clients correctly with the services that we're already offering?
Yes. Or is it also, there's a third one, I'm going to add a third one.
Yep.
Is it how we're communicating it? Is it how we're positioning it?
Okay, you go first then. That's interesting.
So I think the thing is that when you're talking about additional services, there's certainly a way to discuss that with the client. And I've always taken it from a learning educational perspective. It's not that this is just the extra work and we're taking the time to do this and you've got to pay for it. That's not going to fly with anybody. So very much you need to craft your conversation more around this educational focus and think about what's in it for the client. Everybody loves to know or will do something or be motivated by something where there's something in it for them. So you need to think and plan about this. What does my communication actually include? And that whole, you may have heard the term within, what's in it for me? There definitely needs to be a benefit to the client. And it's not, I'll turn my tax returns around quicker. It won't be necessarily saving money, but it'll be that I'll educate you so that you can make smarter decisions. So this is what's happening in the world around you. You're becoming a better, smarter business person. So I think it's about crafting your conversation as well. I don't think we can just go in blind with what we're going to talk about. It comes back to planning. Again, Kylie, that's the first thing I'd say.
Yeah, that's good. And interestingly, and I hadn't even thought about that because, this gets into these accountants to salesperson conversations, which you probably like to talk about and I don't.
I don't like calling it sales. It's positioning.
Yes, okay, cool. Fine, good. Agree to disagree. When I send my emails about, hey, do you want us to help you with this? I will say this, and my opening line is always this: dear client, you are receiving this email because. So my example will be, you are receiving this email because you are an employer, and that means you need to lodge your single touch payroll and get your finalisation. Okay. So I always say, here's why you're getting this email. So it's not, so they don't ignore it. That's why. Okay.
Perfect.
And blah, blah, blah. So recently I had to send 3 yesterday. Hey, dear client, you're receiving this email because you had to do this. The ATO has contacted me and said you didn't do this, despite the fact you told me that you did when you completed my survey. I'm not kidding you. By the end of yesterday, I had 3 emails. Dear Kylie, I'm so sorry. I really thought I did this. Can you please help me with this?
Yes.
I haven't even filled in your link, which is annoying because I did one. I'm just so sorry. Please, can you help me? So like you get a really good response when clients feel like that email is personalized.
Yes.
So I get what you're saying, Linda, there.
Yes.
And I think, and this does sound, salesmanning sounds better than positioning. You get a better response when you call them to action. And I don't like saying that, but I do try to engage with the clients individually, even though I send out emails in bulk. And the reason I use forms and checklists and surveys and all those sorts of things is so then that I can get an Excel spreadsheet of that data and easily filter it and go, right, who said yes, who said no, who said maybe, who wants a meeting.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
Mm.
Absolutely. Let me tell you why I don't like to call it sales. And it's probably it's an interesting discussion point for some of us that have done sales training or are aware of what sales are. And look, to be honest, we are selling all of the time. There's no way about that. But for the most part, accountants and people in accounting view sales as trying to make somebody buy something they might not necessarily need. So I don't like to call, because that's a misnomer about what sales is, but the word itself brings up some icky feelings for accountants. Okay. So that's why I avoid it. And I don't like to call it sales, but positioning is different. Positioning is allowing somebody else the control around, do I want this or do I not? It's educating them, and it's also in a way that helps the accountant decide, do they need it or don't they? So that's why I call it positioning. I think just because sales has a bit of a bad name, and unless you really have looked into it and understand it, very well, then people get a bit funny about calling it that. So that's why I make the differentiation, Kylie.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
So my comment was, clients aren't going to take you up on services, even additional services, even if even if they know that they need them.
Yes.
If we're not getting the other stuff right.
Yes.
So
good point.
I'll just be really blunt about it. If they have got compliance work sitting in your office that they sent in July that they didn't hear a word about, and now it's November, and you're saying, hey, do you want us to help you with this something extra? It's unlikely that they're going to go, yeah, when they're like, where's my tax work?
Mm-hmm. And not even where the tax work is that they've had no communication around what's going on with it.
That's what I was going to say, Linda.
It's just the communication. Exactly. You don't have to do it. It's the communication.
Exactly.
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, totally steal it, because I think that's another thing. Realistically, we're not perfect. We generally have a workflow process that we have every single one of my staff know that we want a 6 to 8 week max turnaround on jobs. I'll be totally honest, we are so far out of that at the moment, it's laughable. But every single client knows where the job's at, right? Not all of our jobs are like that, but I've got 3 at the moment that are well outside that 8 week turnaround. There's reasons, but I'm not happy. Not happy. So there's reasons, but it's not cool. So we really need to get on top of that.
So again, so what you're saying there is, even before we can think about increasing our client fee base or, what this might look like, we need to make sure our back office is schmick. And we need to make sure that, we've got the right resources in place, the right people in the right jobs, so that communication can happen around the work. And I know we've talked about client services before on Clubhouse, but it was certainly before any replays came about or any streaming or anything of that. So it's probably something that we can do again in the new year. But that's the role that looks after communication, right, Kylie? Client services, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So there's communication, educational positioning around what you're going to offer them. There is then you need to be doing the normal work that you would do for clients in a timely way, or at least communicating about it. There was a third thing, Kylie. What did you mention about was the third thing?
So I said that you need to look at the way you the kind of services that you're offering to the clients that you are offering them to.
Oh, whether it's the
So
right ones to the right people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when we're looking at our client listing, you need to think about, well, what kind of extra services do I need to offer, and am I offering them to the right people? So like I said, when we started offering those additional services, like, new trustees, TFNs, reports, single touch payroll things, like work cover things, that sort of thing, you can't just go, righto, let's do them, let's offer it to every single person. You need to target it, and that takes work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to really be able to filter your client list. That takes work. So part of getting prepared to offer these extra services means getting your client list and being able to tag them.
Yeah.
And that will depend on the kind of software that you've
That
got
you
and the
use.
kind of sophistication and that, sophistication levels that's got. It will depend on how clean your client list is.
Yes, and
It will
we
depend
see a
on
lot that it's not necessarily clean, right? Because we've not ever used it for this type of thing, because this is a marketing exercise, and so we've never used it for that. So 9 times out of 10 you're not going to find the data in there. So you are going to have to take some time. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It really depends on your desire. And this is where I see a lot of my friends and colleagues go, too hard basket.
Yeah.
But seriously, to collate your client list on every single piece of software that I have seen, there's an export to Excel function.
Yes.
It takes no longer than 2 hours if you know your client base to go, yep, they have employees, they don't have employees, they're this, they're that, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly you've got a sheet, like 2 hours of billable time. I don't know what everyone charges out, but can't be any more than $1,000 worth of time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you've got you've got the opportunity to bill these clients so much. And the thing that I just really want to say, and it's like it just hits you in the face, when you do this and you start offering these clients stuff at scale, it is worth so much more than compliance work, because the work is so easy. And when you do it, this stuff is easy, right? Like doing this work is so easy.
Yes.
You're doing it anyway.
Yes.
And you do it at scale. So you get to do it over and over and over again at the same time. It's like you bill, 4 compliance jobs in a row. It's easy.
It is.
Like it's like a no-brainer. It really is.
Yes.
And the hardest bit is just working out the administration of it. Like, okay, well, how will I do this form? So that then I go, yep, they want it. No, they don't want it. These people I've got to have a 15-minute phone call with, and these people admin's got to book some meetings with. Right, go.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, it's the admin of it that's the hardest part.
Yes. And even the communication side of it too. I think it's the admin and the communication. That's the only bits that are letting us down. We can do the work, and I think it's just about timing, planning, taking the time to actually look at this. Again, pop your head up from, underneath that compliance load. If you want things to change, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently. There's no way about that. Things won't change with you keep going on exactly as you are. So if you want to increase fees, then you got to look at how you go about these things differently. So some great points in there. And whether you're talking about these additional compliance type activities that you might be giving away for free, or just bundling in with year-end work and you really can't charge anything extra for that, or you're talking about adding on some additional advisory type services that are outside of compliance, the process is the same. This is exactly the same.
I've just had a question about how I manage knowing who wants what.
Yes.
And I just use my existing client system, which I've said before, I use my OBE,
Yes.
and I use Excel to dump that client
List
into filter it.
Yes.
And then I use my job function manager. So once I know what clients want, I just treat them as a normal job.
Yes.
So, and then I use my Microsoft suite stuff to develop all of that. Like I use forms, I use Power Automate? I'm still learning about that because I used to use the other thing.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like I just use my suite of products and my tech tools to make all this happen. You know, like they do a form, as soon as they fill in a form, that automatically goes into Slack to tell my staff, hey, someone's filled in a Slack form, you better see what they want. Yes, they want us to do it, create the job.
Yes. Yeah. So again, it's come back to you've created the process, and that's the whole idea of offering these things at scale. Like you were saying, there has to be a process, and it all can't fall back onto you. It has to be dispersed around your team, your client services people, your administration people, your accountants. Everybody needs to know how this works. So again, underpinning all of this is process.
Everybody needs to know.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And it needs to be communicated internally as well as externally. So again, comes back to planning and communication. Yeah. Cool.
But the process doesn't change with each new service offering.
No.
That's the thing as well. It's like the process doesn't change from when you do a tax return compared to when you do a set of financial statements or whatever the story is. Compliance doesn't change. Compliance is compliance. You know, your workflow process doesn't change. When you add extra services in, that doesn't change either. The out for signature process is the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just about offering additional services.
And a different service or whatever that is that you're particularly doing for the client. Yeah, that's exactly right, Kylie. Once you do one, keep it simple. Drill right down to the easiest thing that you can offer. Do one, and then you can roll out on top of that and on top of that and just leverage from that initial first one, right?
Yeah. And I think, Linda, the thing that we haven't said, which is potentially the most obvious, is just to simply ask our clients, how else can we help you?
Yes.
Which is funny, right? Many clients will have a list of things that they would love our help with other than tax and compliance, because while that is the most time consuming, biggest and most difficult piece of work that we do, clients generally have a list of things that they need our help with.
Yes.
One of the other ways that we have increased our fees without growing our client base is through, and I think this will fall under the advisory space of which you're the expert of, is through clients booking regular meetings with us, simply just to answer their questions.
Yes.
Which I love, because you will laugh at this. I don't actually call this advisory, even though it is simply advice, because I don't need to prepare for it. They actually just have questions. So it's like, I just have questions sometimes and I need answers to them. So can I just book an appointment every month or every quarter and just get my questions answered?
Love it.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
And that's what they do.
Yes.
And it was so empowering for me to think, oh my goodness, these clients just didn't even realize that they could even just ask questions. They thought they had to save them up for tax time.
Yes. Yes. Again,
isn't that crazy?
Yes. I think a lot of accountants think that, you know, it's wondering why clients aren't asking them questions, but there's no process or anything there to encourage the client to do that. So, yeah, I think we're just sitting back wondering why when we haven't even had that discussion with the client. And I love that you don't, well, I don't like the word advisory. I like to call it business improvement because no one outside of accounting understands what advisory is. So for me, it's business improvement. And you know, again, you're coming back almost to that education piece. So it's education and communication that your clients are paying for in those monthly meetings, Kylie. And, you know, there would be questions that you would normally answer anyway, or you're getting them all at, you know, year end when you can't do anything about them.
But for me, it's different because I certainly do a lot of getting to know your business work where I prepare and I do reporting for clients and cash flow management, do all this stuff where it takes me a long time to prepare, and we charge the client accordingly. Whereas this stuff is simple. Clients book a half an hour meeting with me and they have a list. And I
What's like going to your health professional? Yeah. Well, I know when I go to my, my doctor, it's like, okay, I want to talk about this, and this, roll it out and done, dusted, and I'm gone. And I mean, that's me. I love lists, but I'm sure you're seeing that happening with your clients. So that's great. And I think this extra, if we want to talk very quickly about advisory or these extra services, it really is simply sitting down and asking clients, how can I help you? Now, why we don't do that in accounting is because we're actually scared of the answer. We're actually scared that we're not going to be able to deliver what that client wants from us. So that's where I think some of the barriers, or certainly I see some of the barriers with regard to leveraging into advisory or business improvement, come from, Kyelie. So, it's then about, and we'll go right back to what we've been talking about this whole time, it's about having structure, process, and taking the time to implement in the right way. So just throwing open your doors and saying, I'm going to do cash flow budgets now for my clients and have monthly meetings, that's not going to work. You've actually got to put some time into planning this. What does it look like and where do I want to go with it? And how to actually, here I'm going to use the word again, position it with clients. How do I educate them around why this is a really good thing for them? So, advisory is a whole nother kettle of fish, or business improvement, a whole nother kettle of fish, but the process is the same. And that's exactly what we've been talking about this morning. Growing your client fee base, the process is the same, Kyelie. Is that fair, you reckon?
Very, very, very fair. Now, I know that we're coming to the end, so I just want to say one last thing that we did, which really changed the way clients engaged with us and increased our fees.
Yes.
When we went to online bookings, which we just did through our Microsoft suite, we used like the bookings app, I suppose you would say, through Microsoft. We set up all these different kind of appointment styles. And that was, hey, help me with my bookkeeping, half an hour for X dollars. Hey, book a phone call. This is for anything other than quick calls, which actually clients decided that there were things other than quick phone calls. And that's for this.
Yeah, but you let them decide that, not you telling them that. Yes. See, that's the difference. Yes.
I want an appointment for structuring advice, and we listed out, this is if you think you might need a new entity because you're starting a new business, blah, blah, blah. And we set all these new things up, and people actually booked in for those specific appointments and specific advice, help me improve my profit, those sorts of things.
Yes.
So we actually listed out all these other services, and other than tax and compliance, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that really showed people what we did other than tax. And that made a massive difference for our not only existing but also new clients as well, to show them what we did.
It would have also shown you what they were interested in, right?
It did.
Yes.
It really did show us what our existing client base wanted more of, because there was one in there that talked about, hey, help me, I can't remember what we called it, but basically it was help me get more out of my existing business.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the number one hit for like the first 3 months that we launched our online booking system.
Yeah, I love it. There you go, with online booking. A way to, again, what you've done is you've made these offers or educate or communicated to clients in at scale. You've done it with this, just by offering these online appointments, and, clients would be thinking, going, oh, I didn't know she did that. Oh, I'd like one of them. Let's try that out. And they make the decision of whether to do it or not. And the pricing is right there up front. You don't miss it, right, Kyelie? It's here's what it costs.
No, I'm pretty upfront about pricing.
Yeah. We love that about you. We love everything about you, Kyelie Baxter. Okay, so that's probably, we're really close to the top of the hour. if anybody had any questions, I would say at the moment we've probably run out a little bit of time. But if you wanted to email or contact us on LinkedIn or talk to us about anything, please reach out. We're very happy for you to do that. But we need to tell you about what's coming up and what our run up to Christmas looks like for our Clubhouse topics. So we are actually taking a little break next week, so we won't be here next Wednesday, but we will absolutely be back with bells on for the following Wednesday, the 15th of December. So that's when we'll be in the Clubhouse room next. It's all listed there in the Public Practice Accountants Club, all ready to go, and we're about to put up some topics also through into January. I think they're actually they might even be listed. I know, how organised are we? So Wednesday 15th, what will we be talking about? We'll be talking about how to manage overwhelm and to find more time. Nothing more timely this time of year. Hey, Kylie.
Yeah, because yes. I'm spending half my time at like Christmas functions and stuff and school events. So don't know when I'm supposed to be at my desk working. Seriously.
Yes. So this happens at this time of year. It happens at a number of time of years for us. So it's a very timely topic. So we invite you all to come and chat with us in Clubhouse again, Wednesday, 15th of December. We won't be there next week. But if you want to spend your time, you're used to spending your time listening to us on Clubhouse on Wednesday morning, you can always check out one of the replays that are now there sitting in the Public Practice Accountant Club. If you've missed previous weeks, you can pop one of them on and you won't ever miss myself and Kylie's dulcet tones on a Wednesday morning. Because we know that you just love listening to us. All right. Look, we better call it quits for today. Thank you, Kyelie Baxter, as always, a pleasure. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time.
Lindy, you're the best. Thank you very, very much. And see you guys in a fortnight. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Love you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.